How's it going, YouTube? My name is Serge, and today's video is going to be all about the C6 Corvette. So behind me we have the 2007 Chevy Corvette. This is the base model, but it is the Z51 package with a 3LT trim package. So the Z51 package just stiffens up the car, gives it a little bit better brakes, a little sway bar suspension, stuff like that. The 3LT is just the interior stuff. It's got heads-up display and all that. But this body style was a big change from the C5. And in my eyes, it looks way better and it ages way better. This car is almost stock. It has Z06 wheels that are powder-coated black. It's got the yellow calipers, as you can see. It has aftermarket exhaust. I believe it's an SLP exhaust, and it's got a shift eliminator, which for those of you that know Corvettes know that at low speeds it almost makes you shift from first to fourth. This just skips that. So it is mostly a stock car, and with a C8 about to drop in a couple of months or so, Corvette values are at their lowest. For the money, I don't think there's any better car than a C6 Corvette. So let's check it out and let's see what we're working with. So this generation of the Corvette comes standard with the 400 horsepower LS2 engine. This one's made it to a 6-speed proper manual gearbox, and it is a blast to drive. Visually, the build quality on these things, you know, they look good, but as you can see, everything is very flimsy plastic. The whole car is fiberglass, so you're definitely not paying for the build quality on this car. It's your typical GM build quality, and for being a $60,000 car brand new, it's a little disappointing. Moving on to the inside, it's more of the same. There's nothing on this car that really excites you. The steering wheel is the same exact steering wheel as the Chevy Cobalt, just a different center logo. It does give you obviously a 6-speed trans option, so that's great for us drivers, and it gives you kind of a nice gauge cluster along with heads-up display. Everything else is just plain. You know, for being an 07, you compare this to other cars that are on that price range, this one is definitely lacking on the interior department. What it does do, which is a love or hate thing, is these doors, instead of having a handle, you have buttons. You have a button on the inside and you have a button on the outside. To open the door, you just put your hand here and it opens the door. There's a little gauge pad right over here, and when it senses your finger, it'll unlock the door. Some people love it, some people hate it. It doesn't really give you that feel of opening the door, but it is a cool feature if you're into that. Let's be honest, we're not here to learn about the quirks and features of the C6 Corvette. We're here to see how it drives and if it's the best bang for the buck for $15,000. So let's get in and go for a drive. Alright, so the first thing you notice when you sit down in this car is you do feel very low in the car, which is to me always a good thing. You know, this is a sports car, a performance car, whatever you want to call it. I do like being low to the ground. It gives you the feel of being connected right off the bat. So let's take off and see what how we feel about the car. Hear that exhaust. That is the SLP loudmouth exhaust, and it is definitely loud. That was about 2,500 RPMs, 3,000 RPMs, and the cabin noise is definitely there. Well, right off the bat, you could tell this thing has tons and tons of torque. I mean, I'm feathering the throttle, maybe going 25%. 20% throttle, and it just goes. So obviously we knew that coming in. You know, the LS engines, if you're a fan of torque, you can't go wrong with the LS. It definitely sounds like an American muscle car, exactly how you'd expect it to sound. It drives very good. You know, a lot of times American cars get, people think they don't have that feel, the driver feel, you know, they don't handle that well. which was true in the 90s. You know, my generation growing up, you know, I'm a big fan of all the Japanese 90s cars, obviously, but you know, that's changing nowadays in the modern stuff, and the Corvettes are really no different. They're very good handling cars, which most of the people outside of, you know, Corvette or track enthusiasts might not know. Suspension, you know, I haven't driven the base model without the Z51 package, so it's hard for me to compare. I have driven the Grand Sport, and I have driven the Z06, so to me the suspension feels fine. It's not. As I was saying, the suspension's not too stiff. A lot of guys, granted, it's a lot of older guys that talk about it. The suspension's stiff. It's not too stiff for my taste. I think, you know, performance cars need a stiffer suspension. There's no way. I don't want to drive a Corvette that feels like a Buick. That's not, you know, that's not what it's about. You guys saw me there. I took a turn. I was about 20% throttle, and the rear end wants to kick out, and that is with the traction control on, so I haven't even turned it off yet. So we're up to about 65 right now, 6 gear. It's about 1,500, 1,600 RPMs, and that's honestly one of the best things about this car, without even trying, is you're getting a performance car that could get great gas mileage. For the money, this is a very, very good car. If you're a fan of American muscle sound, you know, you want a car that handles well, you know, you could buy, obviously, you could buy something like a 70s car, and usually they're not the best handling car without a ton of suspension work. This thing is bone stock, besides the wheels and tires. It does have Z06 wheels and tires on here, so they are a little wider, and it is a very good handling car. It sounds good. It's surprisingly comfortable for me. The seats, you know, a lot of times you get into performance cars, the seats get uncomfortable. With these C6 seats, they're actually more comfortable but less supportive than I would want them to be. You know, if you're comparing it to like a Recaro seat from the Evo or ISF, you know, the ISF seats, or any performance seat, this one is definitely lacking. The bolsters are not there. They're not made for slim people like me. They don't hold you in place at all. But with that said, they are very comfortable on longer drives. So if you want a daily that you can take anywhere, you don't have to worry about the weather, this is a good daily. And the great thing is, whenever you want, drop a gear or 2 or 3, and you get that sound, that symphony. If you're a fan of the American sound, you really cannot beat the sound of these Corvettes. Now, if you've never driven let's say a Firebird or a Camaro or a Corvette, the gearboxes on them are very, very mechanical. And what I mean by that is, you know, you have cars that have smooth gearboxes that, you know, from gear to gear, you can barely feel anything's there. It shifts like butter. The T56 or the TR66, or all those transmissions, they're very strong transmissions. They hold a lot of power, but they are very, very mechanical, where you feel everything in the transmission. Not necessarily a bad thing. I think it suits the car very well. You know, with a V8, you want to pull the shifter back and feel that grunt, and it does. You do get that feel with these, but it is a little different than driving, you know, your Honda Civic where you can shift with one finger. You know, this is not that type of trans. Here I'm taking a corner, going about 85, and it's sitting there. 4,000 RPMs in fourth, and it is very, very comfortable. It's very stable, and you're just hugging the road, and it takes it effortlessly. So it's definitely a very good high-speed cornering car. It is a joy to drive. For $15,000. It is very, very hard to beat. bored or having a shitty day and a bad mood, whatever the case may be, this thing has a ton of torque. You really just gotta step on the throttle, you know, halfway, and it'll always put a smile on your face from the torque. For example, brings a smile. So, with that said, thank you guys for watching. I personally think this is probably the best sub $15,000 enthusiast car you can buy. It's definitely not a great all-around car, but if you're looking for performance, this is performance and looks at least. This is going to be one of the better ones, possibly the best one you could buy. I actually have this car for sale for $15,000, but I did just take a deposit on it from a friend of mine, and I actually sold it under $15,000. It's a clean title, 94,000 mile Corvette C6. So for those of you going to say, oh, C6s are still more expensive, you just got to look for the right ones. The good thing about Corvettes is there's a ton of them on the market. So with there being a ton of them, you know, it's always going to be a buyer's market. It's not like you're buying a Supra or something rare. It's a Corvette. There's a ton out there. You make an offer. If someone tells you no, move on to the next one. You didn't lose anything. So again, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you can. Comment, like, whatever. Dislike. It's up to you. And I'll see you guys for the next video.